Hey everybody, this is Riley McShane from Allegaeon, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. Brutally Delicious!
How was your vacation, man?
Oh, it was great, dude.
Yeah?
We went to, the first couple days we took Colin up to, he's a big roller coaster fan, and he wanted to ride the biggest roller coaster in the world.
Yeah.
It's up in Jersey at Six Flags.
Okay.
So we took him up there, and which was great. I mean, it's expensive, but it was fun. And I was actually had all intentions of doing it until I got to the bottom of that fucker, and it is so big, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's 456 feet.
Ouch.
The drop, and then it's 0 to 128 in 3-point-something seconds.
Holy shit! I gotta look up how big. How did you say? 468 feet?
Yeah. So look it up. It's called the Kinda Ka. Kinda.
Holy fuck! That's a huge drop.
Yeah.
It's
monstrous.
It's like almost 2 football fields.
Oh, wait a second. Are we doing this fucking conversion? You couldn't figure out feet?
I don't know feet yet. I'm learning. I never said what I was doing. I just had to look at it and see how big it was.
We're starting already.
No. I wasn't going to bring it up. I was just doing it. I was doing it incognito.
If our buddies from Heavy Petting are listening, maybe they can. But yeah, so after Great Adventure, we went down to, Denise and I went down to Myrtle Beach and stayed at a beach resort for 4 days or something, and that was very nice.
Oh, man. Myrtle Beach is in Florida, right?
No, South Carolina.
South Carolina?
It's kind of like right on the border of North Carolina, South Carolina, right on the coast.
Oh, wow. I bet you it's just beautiful there.
It was really nice, and we had like a beachside thing. We really had no fucking agenda at all. It was kind of get up when we get up and eat when we eat, and we'd be sitting at the pool, and I'd be waiting to hear a blender at the bar, so I knew it was bar 30, and I could start pouring. I kept going, hey, is it time yet? She's like, no, it's too early. And then I'd hear the blender start going right around 11-ish, and then I was like, cool, I can start pouring. Bar
30 is like one of my favorite times on holiday.
Yes, bar 30 is nice. And bar 30 lasts, like the happy hour lasts for, 12 hours or more at times.
However long it goes, it goes.
Yeah, it was cool. We ate a couple really cool places, and it was nice. No real agenda at all, just kind of hanging.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
Need that to reset once in a while, I guess.
Well, you were on vacation. I started work on my new EP, which was really amazing. It's been an amazing journey doing this. I heard that. I have Rob from Touch the Sun. He's doing all the drums on it. I programmed all the parts, but he's just going to take them and Robinize them, if that makes any sense.
Right.
And I have a really amazing lead guitar player that's going to do some lead work on it. And it's such a departure from what I normally do. I'm like, it's fucking heavy as shit, but not, it's like, it's not heavy as in like metal heavy, even though it is heavy metal, I guess. But it's kind of like a mixture between like, like Nirvana, Nevermind, and Alice in Chains and Gojira and In Flames, all put together into one kind of thing. So,
you know what I heard though? I heard though that if you come on the show and hype that, you automatically like go gold or something.
Well, fuck, that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm talking about it. I know what happens to bands, so I'm just like, hey,
right?
Hey, for all the 5 people that will actually hear the song when I finish it,
right?
Please share it with 5 more.
I told. I was talking to Josh the other day from Oculum Day, and I said, hey, we're taking credit for your band's success. And he was like, dude, just ride with it. Go for it, man.
Well, tell him we want 5% of all merch sales.
Well, he listens. He's one of our 5 listeners, so Josh.
Then we don't want 5% of your merch sales. That would be rude.
Right, disregard that.
I've been dealing with a dog today. There's been no Vagisil on the pause, but he's been whining a lot. So
I had a lady at work the other day when I told her about that. She didn't believe me, so she called her boyfriend, I guess, who's like a vet tech.
Yeah,
and she's like, Bruce's partner's putting Vagisil on his dog's paws, and the guy's like, oh yeah, they do that all the time. She was sort of fact-checking us.
Fact check this. I'll give you something to fact check.
Right. Yeah, she didn't believe it at all. And then she's like, oh, cool. I guess you're right.
Well, the funnier part about it was, so the Vagisil doesn't clear that up. So I was like, oh, what else do I do? And then my wife was like, well, you know what happens when a girl has these problems? I'm like, well, you go to the doctor. She's just like,
right.
Or you sit in a vinegar bath. Let's make him a vinegar bath. To make him a vinegar bath, put him in the tub with all his feet submerged. And he's like, fuck, this sucks. Get me out of this fucking shit. Jesus Christ. And he's like freaking out. And I'm like, have another treat, have another treat, have another treat. So I had to let him sit there 5-10 minutes, right? So, and I'm just feeding him treats. But the only, he's so old and picky, the only treats he'll eat are these pill pocket things, like, you know. Mm-hmm. So I was breaking them up into small pieces. Well, holy shit, I've never smelt dog gas that bad in the evening. Oh my God. I was just like, it was a mixture of vinegar and dog farts in my house for the whole night. It was so brutal, dude.
I'm not sure how anybody ever makes it to our interviews in the podcast, because with this stupid shit we start off with, it's quite interesting.
Hey, it's just, you know, it's real talk.
Oh, absolutely. We're keeping it real. So today we're going to be talking with the vocalist on I guess it's Allegaeon. But holy shit, I can't wait to talk about that boat, because we got to at least tell them that, you know, we're old school fans or something.
Oh my God. Oh,
I will never
Jesus.
forget that day.
You know what?
You ran and grabbed the end, and you're like, they're pulling ceiling tiles from
You know what I'm doing right now? I'm searching Allegaeon on 70,000 Tons of Metal, because I'm going to send him videos through Skype. And so he can see what was actually fucking happening.
I remember those ceiling tiles just coming down, and people were going nuts.
Oh my God. That was like, my buddy Scott was at that show. He didn't go to bed till like 6 the next morning because he was just so fucking fired up from it. He's like, that was the best fucking thing I've ever seen. Holy fucking shit. He was just losing his mind. Pardon my language, everyone.
Right. Randy, he's always complaining about our language. So Randy, if you're listening.
Sorry, Randy. I'm really fucking sorry.
Yeah. Fuck you. I'm looking forward to this because it's been one of the better shows we've seen together.
Oh, it was fucking crazy. Blew my fucking mind away.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, hey.
I'm here. I'm alive.
Riley, I apologize for Chris's ineptness. We just got to roll with it.
Fucking
you know,
Canadians.
I'm in a couple bands. I'm used to dealing with inept people. So
At any rate, that's my partner, Chris.
Nice to meet you, man.
What's going on, dude?
So I'll catch you up, Chris. He's wearing the nice floor panel because he's in San Diego, ready to chat with us. So,
fucking A. What are you doing in San Diego?
I live here.
Oh, well, that explains that.
yes. I live in North County, San Diego, in Escondido, but I've actually never lived outside of California yet. Somehow my bread and butter is based out of Denver, sort of.
Yeah.
So weird.
Interesting. All right, so we can just jump in. Chris, you want to start?
I will.
I know you do.
So the first time I saw your band, I was on 70,000 Tons of Metal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That show was mind blowing.
Was it the Pyramid Room show, right?
Yeah.
We were both there.
Yeah.
Where the tiles were coming off the roof and people were hanging from the rafters.
Kicking out ceiling tiles and shit. I was just like, holy Christ. So I actually, 70,000 Tons is like mostly a blur to me because but when I was on my way to the airport, right?
Yeah.
To fly from California to Florida to get on the boat, the bass player for Cattle Decapitation at the time, Derek Engeman, called me and was like, hey dude, like, you know, Travis has a family emergency that like came up last night. You know, is there any way, like, how familiar are you with our material? And I was just like, oh God. I was like, well, I can do like everything off your last album, off Anthropocene Extinction.
Yeah.
And he was just like, cool, that's 5 songs. I was like, God damn it. So I ended up doing like last minute double duty on 70,000 Tons for Allegaeon and for Cattle Decapitation. And, and so I had to do like, it was like Cattle's first set was like 2 hours after the boat took off.
Oh my God.
And then Allegian's first set was at like 5 o'clock in the morning that night.
Oh my God.
The next day, right? On the pool deck up at the very top.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure, I want to say that it was Allegion again in the Pyramid Room the next day, and then Cattle Decapitation in the ice rink room, right?
Oh, wow.
And it was like all in the first 2 days, so I just didn't sleep for the first 2 days. and then I finally was like, okay, I've got to crash, but the land stop is soon. I'm just gonna like rest my eyes for a minute, and as I'm like drifting into sleep, I hear them be like, boom, boom. Now arriving at Labadee, Haiti. And I was just like, oh, okay, fuck. Like, I'm just going to sleep for like half an hour, like get off the boat, like go see Haiti. And like it was one of those things where it's like, when like you close your eyes and you like feel like you only slept for a second, but then you open them back up and you're like, oh shit, how long was I asleep? And in those cabins, as I'm sure you guys remember, like there's no semblance of time. It's just like, it's just like, all right, well, I'm in my cabin. So I'm like, all right, well, I feel like the boat is moving. So like, hopefully I didn't miss the land stop. And I like go like crawl out of my bunk and like get my shit together. And I walk up to the pool deck to like kind of see what time of day it is. And it is like the dead of night in the middle of the ocean. And I was just like, well, I guess I'm just going to party super hard for the next 18 hours, which I did. So I was
we reference that show on this show all the time. That was one of like the best, craziest shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, man. I've heard that from a lot. I mean, it was super fun. Don't get me wrong, but like seeing all those people in like crab suits was super awesome. And like, but for us, it was just like, it's just a Legion show. But a ton of people have approached me since then being like, that was like hands down the most insane. Actually, so the other one, people are like, the only other show I've seen in that room at that level of intensity was Flesh God Apocalypse. People say like a couple years prior was like of equal craziness. And I was just like,
it was close, but it wasn't that. It was close, but it wasn't that. Like I was just telling Bruce before we got on, my buddy Scott was, he first time on the boat. He's never been, and I go almost every year. So he's on the boat, and he likes metal, but he's not into like screaming metal. That's not his thing, right? Anyways, we're drinking beers, obviously, and we bring him to the lounge there. By the end of the show, he was in the fucking pit. He's body surfing. He's just going crazy. And then afterwards, I run into him about 5 a.m. I'm like, oh, are you up to see the show? He's like, I can't fucking sleep. The fucking Allegiant show just fucked me up. And he's just like, it's just like, holy shit, dude.
It's fucking brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it was amazing, dude. So good.
So Chris, I know you missed part of the intro conversation there. Riley, you said you're in a second band. So how do you keep up with that kind of intensity, I guess? Because I'm assuming it's the same type of band I'm not familiar with.
So this is actually these tours that I just mentioned off the air. So I guess on the air, I will mention that I'm leaving for tour with my band Continuum to do the Bloodletting North America tour with like Disentomb and Signs of the Swarm and Organectomy and I think Visceral Disgorge is on there as well, and Mental Cruelty. So it's like slam, like super brutal death metal kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this is actually my first full-length tour with Continuum. So Continuum started in like 2009, I want to say, and then I recorded vocals for our first album, The Hypothesis, in 2011. And then that album didn't come out until like 2014. So based off of that like 5-year chunk of time, I was like, oh, this is a studio project. Like it's never gonna be like a touring band kind of thing. And then the other thing about Continuum is that it's like it's not a super group by any means, but it's like a bunch of dudes who have been in the game for a long time. Like my guitar player Chase Frazier is one of the founding members of Animosity, and he played in Decrepit Birth for a while. He also played in that Scour band with Phil Anselmo, and so he's been around. And then our bass player, our other guitar player plays bass for Deeds of Flesh. He played in I want to say Brain Drill for a while. Our drummer played in Brain Drill and Rings of Saturn. He currently plays for Inanimate Existence, which is a band that I was in prior. So it's like everybody's been around. We've all been in touring bands and all this kind of stuff. So I was just like, it took us like 5 years to get the first album out, and we're all doing other shit. Like, I'm assuming this is never going to be a touring band. And then like last year, my guitar player is just like, yo, I wrote an album. I got us like booking representation through Artery Global. Like, Unique Leader is ready to put this thing out and like get us on the road. And I was just like, fuck.
I'm never getting off the road.
I was like, oh no. So, cause it's, I don't get me wrong. Like, I love what I do and I love touring, and I'm super grateful to be in a position where I can tour, cause so many musicians, never get there.
Yeah.
But it's, it's exhausting, and it's definitely, death metal's not, I'm not living in the lap of luxury by any means. A lot of sleeping in vans and all that kind of shit. And I just turned 31 like earlier this year. I'm my body can only take so much of that. So being in a band who is like, going from being in Allegaeon, who's done extensive touring over the years and, just released our 5th album and, is starting to do headlining tours and all this kind of stuff, going from that level of touring to a brand new band playing like 3rd in the lineup, on a 6-band show, as like our very first tour is rough. So it's, you just gotta grin and bear it, count the days. I have like, a little prison wall that I just like mark tallies into on the side of the van.
Are you concerned at all about your voice holding out for that sustained period of time?
No, not really. I mean, I've been doing this. I've been singing since I was like 5 years old, and I've been doing death metal stuff since I was about 14. So long time. And I also am like a vocal coach. I have a handful of students that I teach and stuff. So training and proper execution of stuff is like really important to me, and taking care of my voice on the road and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty careful, so I don't blow up my voice, especially when these big 2-month tours happen. This isn't my first 2-month tour, but it is my first 2-month tour split across 2 different bands. So
yeah, a little bit crazy.
Here's a question for you. I'm a singer, and I'm trying to learn to scream. I can't do it. I've never done it. I took one lesson with a girl from a band named Cripper. Her name is Britta. I did it on the very first 70,000 Tons of Metal in 2011. I met her, and like, it was the first time I'd ever heard a girl pull that off. And she was like by far the best singer on that boat in that style. So, how do you do this? And she's like, you have to pretend like you're puking. And I was just like, what? And I didn't really understand what she was saying. So how do you do that without damaging your voice? Because I've taken like years of classical voice training, but I've never been able to figure out the aggressiveness of it.
Okay, so if you're familiar with your voice, so basically I'm going to try to get a little bit farther away from my mic here so I don't blow out your podcast. So when you project a note, right? Like when you hit just like a regular note, you from the diaphragm, proper posture, all that kind of stuff. So you like, right? Yeah. Did that cut through? Is that
it's
beautiful? Yeah.
Okay, so you do something like that. So then the next step from there is to do like a vocal fry kind of deal, which is just like the tightening of your aperture so that when you're using the same amount of air from your diaphragm, you are pushing through like a tighter window. Imagine like when you let air out of a balloon.
Yeah.
If you just let it do its thing, it's like, but if you tighten it up, it does a little like squeaky thing. So it's same principle with the aperture in your vocal folds. So from a regular like belted note like that, you can then tighten up that aperture and do like a vocal fry kind of deal, right? So becomes, and then from there, it's just going lower and lower and lower and lower is basically what you do. So, you have turns into
And there you have it.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that.
That's the easiest way to do it. As someone who like is familiar with your voice, that's I feel like the easiest way to transition as someone who's already, a singer.
So, can I ask you a question? And I mean, we've done a million of these interviews, and I've been around for a long time, but I've never asked it. Does that hurt your throat?
No,
not at all.
No.
I understand what you're saying.
I don't.
I really get it because you think it would, but if you're just relaxed and letting the air go and controlling your airflow, it's not gonna do anything.
It's the kind of thing where it's just like regular singing. It's actually most similar to singing opera in my experience, because it's like you have to use a lot of air. You have to really project, really belt. It's all coming through your resonance chamber. Your soft palate is closed or up in that like hard K position kind of thing. So there's nothing coming through your nose.
Yeah.
It's very like proper projection, but basically it's like I said, just kind of like it's weird because it's like you have to gain that tightness in your aperture to create that vocal fry thing. But then to create a lower tone, as I'm sure you have to open up your larynx a little bit to get those like deep bassy tones.
Yeah.
So combining the two is kind of tricky, but once you get it, it's just like second nature.
Cool.
So all those people who say it's just screaming, you've just been taught a lesson here.
Yeah. You guys are dumb.
Nice.
Yeah, no. I remember the first time I saw, like the very first metal show I kind of saw was In Flames.
Oh yeah.
And it blew me away. I was at this club in Vancouver called the Commodore Ballroom.
Yep.
And they just fucking rocked that place. And that guy can scream. And then in between songs, he's got that accent. He's like, "Oh, thank you very much, everybody." Yep. And he's like so tame and quiet. And he's like, "Let's go, run!" I was just like, "Holy shit!"
That's exactly how I feel every time I see Opeth, because they still do a lot of their like older growly songs, right? Even though they don't put it on albums anymore. But yeah, fucking the first time I saw them, Michael Ockenfeld's the same way. He's like super soft spoken in between songs, but he's fucking hilarious. And so he was like, what did he say? He was like, I wrote this song several years ago, and when I was first demoing it out, I showed it to my grandmother, and she said, I think that is a very nice song. And then they started playing fucking Deliverance, and I was just like, yes, yeah. Nice. Yeah.
All right, so let's switch this podcast to why you're here, because you're here to talk about Allegaeon. Yeah. The record's been out, maybe 6 months now?
Just over 4, I want to say.
Okay.
Came out in April 19th. So
now that you've had a chance to sit with it and listen to it and rehearse it, whatever you're doing, is there anything you wish you could go back and change, or are you pretty much happy with? I know there's going to be some little thing here and there probably, but
yeah, I mean, always, you know what I mean? Like I've never done a record and then listened to it 6 months later and been like, yes, still perfect. Like it's never it's never gone that way. And I try to not get bummed out by that. I just view it as like, it's just a sign of growth. You know what I mean? Like I've grown as a singer between when I recorded that album and when I listen to it today. But yeah, there's things that I wish I could go back and change, layers that I wish I could add, little bits of melodies and stuff like that I wish I could kind of, spice in there and all that kind of stuff. But, you just gotta learn to settle with what's out there and save those ideas for the next record.
In the end, I mean, I know it got great reviews, but it's definitely one of my favorite albums of the year so far. It's freaking great. I love it.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah.
I'm still really happy with it, despite, being a perfectionist and being like, I wish I could change that, or I wish I could change that. And this album, I feel like, is particularly endearing to me, because it was such a process getting it out there. Proponent for Sentience, which was my first record with Allegaeon, it was a pretty streamlined process. You know what I mean? It was just like I just wrote my parts, and we had studio time booked, and then we had a release date set, and everything just was like super smooth, super easy. We got all our promo materials in line, all that stuff. But with this one, the writing process was just a little bit harder for everyone. You know, we were spending tons of time on the road, like too much time on the road. You know, taking tours that we had no business taking, kind of thing. Right. And it affected our it affected our release schedule, and it was hard to like get into a creative space when we were like so busy all the time. And you know, when it finally came together, I hated it. I was just like, dude, this is awful. Like, there's so much wrong with this album. Like, I hate the way it's laid out. There's songs that I wish weren't on here. There's all this kind of stuff. And, you know, it took like, you know, getting together with the dudes and like, you know, throwing shit on the chopping block and, you know, but in some cases it was like too little too late. Like, our vinyl for this album has 2 songs that aren't on the CD, and the track listing is totally different.
Oh, really?
And that's because by the time that we like got everything together, we're like, okay, this is how it should be. These are the songs that we want on there. This is how we want them played. Like, this is the play order we want. Metal Blade was like, dude, we have already started pressing vinyl for this. Like, we can fix it for the CD and for the digital, but like, you're just gonna have to fucking live with the vinyl being like the original shit that you sent us.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like I said, it was just like headache after headache after headache trying to get this record out.
That makes it a collector.
Yeah, right. And then, but then, you know, the theme of the album is all about like, you know, death leading to new life and growth and positive change and all this shit. So it was like, it was kind of a contrast to like what was actually going on behind the scenes. And I feel like, but even with that, it kind of does tie into the whole theme of the record of how, you know, it took a lot of bullshit to get the record out, but then when we finally got it out, I feel like it was the best version that it possibly could have been. So it kind of, you know, it definitely worked out. But like I said, it's more endearing to me. I remember this process a lot more because, you know, you generally tend to remember the hard times more than the easy times. So
oh, sure.
It was definitely a process, but finally getting it out and then seeing everyone's response to it was super special. So
right.
I'm stoked on it. I'm glad you like it.
Awesome.
So you say you guys all live in different places. Did you get together to write the record, or were you writing remotely?
No, we write remotely. And then we just get together when we record. And so when we go into the studio, the album is only like 95% done, because Dave Otero is a fantastic producer on top of being a fantastic audio engineer.
Yeah.
So we're always open to, you know, it's like we have everything written, like all the parts are there. It's not like we're like leaving the ends of songs being like, oh, let's figure it out in the studio. But you know, when Dave is like, oh yeah, I like this, but maybe like don't maybe do it less shitty. Like we're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's fix that part. Let's make it less shitty.
Yeah.
So a lot of the like final details are hashed out in the studio with Dave. But yeah, we write all the songs remotely. I write all my parts. You know, it's a lot of like Greg and Mikey, right? Like they like split song duties pretty much down the middle of like, here's this whole song, and then everybody else kind of writes their parts on top of it.
Okay.
So yeah, write remotely, and then we get together a few days. So we spend about a month and a half in the studio. Yeah. And then everybody kind of flies out for like their week. You know what I mean? So I get there at like the tail end, because vocals always go last on recordings. So I get there like last week, you know, give myself like a day to kind of acclimate, because we record in Denver, which is nowhere near sea level.
Right. It's going to mess up your vocal cords, man.
Yeah. So I give myself a day or two to acclimate to the altitude and then hit the studio and yeah, do it that way. Same thing with touring. We just get together a couple days before the tour starts and run some rehearsals and make sure everybody's dialed in. And if we have to cut a song, you know, because one or more people are like, I couldn't get this down, like it's not working out, then, you know, that's what we have to do. But yeah, we have a system.
Nice.
Do you think about, I guess, changing the vibe or the performance from album to album? Because this one is definitely, I think in my opinion at least, a lot more progressive or a lot more proggy. Is that something that's intentional, or is that just the way it flows?
It's kind of just the way it flows, honestly. Like, you know, Mikey, when doing an interview or when we asked him about like, you know, what was your writing process like? He summed it up pretty well for, I feel, everyone in the band, where he was just like, you know, like I went into this being like, you know, he's like, usually when I write songs, I try to like make them sound like Allegaeon, you know what I mean? And this time he was just like, I'm just going to write songs and see what happens. And, you know, I feel like those songs are the best ones on the record, because they are just like way more raw and musical, and they don't feel forced, as some Allegaeon tracks can tend to do.
Okay.
Cool.
Chris, anything?
No, I'm just enjoying checking it out, man.
Yeah.
So just so you know, Bruce and I, we started this podcast, but I'm kind of newer to metal. So for me, this podcast is about learning more about metal and getting to meet people in metal and hopefully helping people that listen to it come along in that journey so that they can kind of broaden their horizons into a different kind of way of listening to things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. So Riley, do you have a sense of humor at all? Chris is going to start laughing here.
Oh, shit.
I have no sense of humor. I am the most serious person.
All right. Well,
in
that's
the world.
I have a feeling you're lying.
So maybe I'm a jackass or whatever, but I've always got these like crazy off the wall questions that I usually end things on. A couple of them.
Dog, give it to me. Give it to you. Right?
That's what I'm looking for. You ready? They're going to be really fucked up. We're okay with that?
I'm totally cool with that.
How do you describe the color yellow to somebody who's colorblind?
Have you ever just the smell of lemons? Be like, you know what lemons smell like? That's what fucking yellow looks like. No, how would I do that? Let's see. Someone was like, oh, yeah. If someone was like, oh, dude, like, you know, can you do me a favor? I'm colorblind, and I've just always wanted to know what the color yellow looks like, and everybody says it's like a really happy color, all this stuff. You know, what can you explain to me what it looks like? I would be like, well, first step, kill yourself. Your life has no value because you see things terribly, and I'm sorry that you have lived your burden of existence this long. No,
we should apologize to our 5 listeners that if any of them are colorblind.
No offense to you colorblind people. I'm just
don't worry, I offend them every time.
I go into comedy mode where I feel like nothing's too harsh, nothing's off limits.
Oh no, I'm with you. I was kidding, dude. Go.
That's how comedy is, right? So you have to, you know, be a piece of shit. So yellow. So man, this is a really hard question.
You said you were down, man.
Give him the next one. Come on.
Let me piss in your mouth, and what that tastes like, that's what yellow looks like.
I never had that answer, but I like it. All right, I've got one more fucked up one, and then another serious one, and we can call it a day. Okay. Hey, why are manhole covers round? Look at his blank stare.
Manhole covers round? Because... is this a question, or is this is there a punchline coming?
There is no punchline. You want me to skip to the next one I have?
No, I don't. I need to, hold on. Why are manhole covers round? Manhole covers are round because
they are everywhere in the world. They're round.
Well, it's just that manholes are like more like a slit shaped, so it's not for covering your manhole. So it clearly did not get its inspiration from the actual manhole.
Not a butt plug. It's
what's it called when you jam shit into your pee hole? There's like a specific word for that.
I don't want to know. Chris is probably Googling it right now.
You know, my wife would know, and I totally don't. I don't. Wait a minute. That's not what I mean. No. Why are manhole covers round? Manhole covers are round because if they were triangular, there'd be a lot more traffic accidents.
Perfect.
And if they were square, I don't know. I personally think they should be square. I'm going to start a fucking change.org petition to make all manholes square.
All right. Thank you for playing along.
I got it. You ready?
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Urethral sounding.
Sounding. That's what it is. Sounding.
I don't want to know about any of that.
I
got to erase my history or my wife's going to kill me.
I wanted to say pegging, but that's when someone fucks you in the butt with a strap-on dildo. That's totally
nice. Thank you for that.
Yeah, hey, I'm a wellspring of information.
Well, thank you for playing along, Riley. One last one. If you were stranded on a desert island, whatever, you could take 3 records, assuming you've got like a solar-powered turntable. What would they be?
The self-titled Portishead record.
Nice.
The Wall by Pink Floyd.
Oh, amen.
And I don't know. I feel like I should say a metal album, but like I fucking would not want to be stuck on a desert island with a fucking metal record for my whole life. You know what? That's not true. In Defiance of Existence by Old Man's Child. I could listen to that record a million.
I'm actually not even familiar with that, so I'm gonna have to Google it.
Oh, it's so good. There's this song called so it's Old Man's Child is the guitar player from Dimmu Borgir. Mm-hmm. It's his like other band where he does guitar and vocals for it. But there's a lot of like member interchange kind of thing, and so Nick Barker, who played for Cradle of Filth, and he played for Dimmu on I want to say Puritanical Misanthropic, or Puritanical Euphoric Misanthropic, whatever the fuck that album's called, and then Death Cult Armageddon. He plays on In Defiance of Existence, and it's like he just kind of gets to show off a little bit more. It's a little bit more flashy because it's not as like structured and stylistic as Dimmu Borgir is. Right. And it's fucking crazy. It is so sick. Like the whole record is amazing, but just the drums alone are next level. You should check out this song called Black Seeds on Virgin Soil if you have not heard it.
I'll definitely check it out.
And just listen to the drums; it will blow your mind.
I love.
I know. I said the last one. Can I get you one more?
Yeah, of course.
I know we're looking at Chris because we're doing the video thing. See that shirt right there? What do you think of Gojira?
I fucking love Gojira. They're actually one of my favorite bands. However,
no, there's a however in there. Hold on.
I've never seen them live.
What?
And yeah, it's fucked up. Okay, so check this out. So every time I've tried to see Gojira live, maybe like 5 or 6 times, and every single time, something comes up or gets in the way. Like they played, I want to say they played Hellfest, but I'm not sure. But I know for sure they played Heavy Montreal the day after we did, and I couldn't see them. Every time they come through San Diego or LA, I'm on tour. They were supposed to play the year that we played 70,000 Tons of Metal.
I actually interviewed them for that, and then we had to scrap the interview.
Yeah, but then
I was actually more excited that Overkill got the spot.
Yeah, it was Overkill.
That's more my speed.
It was supposed to be Gojira and Nile, I want to say, but then it ended up being Overkill and us.
Yep.
So, I mean, I was stoked to be on 70,000 Tons of Metal, but I was like, God damn it, Gojira's not playing. Like, you know, I've seen Emperor more times than I've seen Gojira, which is like a band that has been around for 30 years and never tours versus a band who like tours all the time.
They don't stop.
Yeah. And you know, I guess I could have seen them when they just came through LA with Slipknot, but I couldn't. I was gone. I was out of town. So see, same shit. Like,
we have this running joke here because
seeing Gojira live is a religious experience, and I'm not a religious guy.
That's what I've heard, is that their live show. So I love their records. Like the first one of theirs that I heard was The Way of All Flesh. Yeah. And then after that, I started backtracking and listened to Mars to Sirius and The Link and all that shit and was like, oh, this is fucking amazing. And then, you know, L'Enfant, whatever, came out and I was just like, oh, well, this is also super sick. But I've never seen them live. And I know people who are like, yeah, I cannot listen to that band on record, but seeing them live is like fucking unreal. That's how I am with Dying Fetus. Like I cannot.
Maybe that's my difference then, because we have this running argument. I don't get it. I listen to it and I don't hate it, it doesn't stand out to me like everybody else is talking about. I'm like, I'm missing something. I don't know what I'm missing.
So exactly how I am with Dying Fetus. I like cannot listen to their records, but I've seen them live like 3 times, and they are like, I'm like, how can 3 dudes be that fucking heavy? Like, it is like the heaviest fucking show I've ever seen, and I'm just like, oh, this is so sick. I wish I could enjoy your albums.
Yeah, no, the first time I saw Gojira was opening for In Flames at that In Flames show I told you about. And I didn't know who they were, and I just caught the last song when I was like, oh, they seem pretty good. And then the next time I saw them, they were touring In the Way of All Flesh, and they came through Vancouver, and they played, it's called the Queenie Theater there. It's like pretty small theater, holds about 2,000 people or something. And Devin Townsend opened the show, he was quite good. And then Gojira came on. And I've never seen anything like that. That whole place was a mosh pit. They were moshing in the upper balconies. People they had security guards upstairs like, stop, no. You're going to go over the edge. When they finished playing, they came back out, did an encore, left. All the lights are come on. They're pulling backline off the stage. And the whole crowd is still just chanting, Gojira, Gojira. So Mario and Joe come out. And they're like, what the fuck do you want us to do? They're just screaming at the crowd. No microphones, nothing. And they both jump in the audience.
Nice.
The lights are on, and they body surf all over the place. And then they get back on the stage. They're like, okay, we're done. And they walk off, and the whole place is still just screaming for them. No one left.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, they're definitely one of those bands that, like, they do something. Okay, so metal is a genre of music where, like, it's really hard to do new shit. You know what I mean? Like, the dynamic in metal is very limited, I feel. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, because it's so, cranked up to 11 all the time that it's like, it's hard to create a unique dynamic when the intensity level of music is that high. And so when Gojira came along and started doing something that was like entirely unique, I feel like that alone, whether or not you like the style, is enough to be like, holy shit, this band is amazing. Because it's like they put something into a genre where everything has been done, and did something that was like entirely new and entirely unique. And it's a combination of so many things. It's not even just the songwriting, but also their production and their guitar tone, and the unique style that each one of them has, whether it's vocals or Mario on drums, and it's like it's so, like I said, just entirely unique. And I think that that's really what Gojira's strongest point is. They're awesome players as well, but their ability to inject something into the metal scene that had never been done before is like truly astounding. So,
Bruce, you're getting trounced here, buddy.
I know, but I'm editing this so we can figure it out anyway.
I told Bruce
there's enough in there to make it swing my way.
When they come through DC, I'll buy him the ticket, but not on this tour.
You are the man. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Are you guys?
Hey, absolutely.
Are you guys touring
Thanks for
through DC
the
at all?
vocal lesson and the medical terms. Appreciate it all.
No problem.
Be safe, brother.
Take it easy, guys.
Right.
Cheers. Thanks.
Wow.
Nice guy.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, that was cool.
He's got
You got fucking trounced on Gojira, buddy.
I did get trounced.
I was watching you slowly.
Lesson. How the hell did you get him to give you a vocal lesson?
I have such weird ways of talking to people, I think.
I had no idea he was going to like push back his chair and actually do it.
No, it's awesome. So far in the last 2 episodes, I've gotten guitar pickup advice, guitar advice,
and now vocals.
Conversion from Imperial to Celsius with formula, and a vocal lesson.
And vocal lessons. Well, that's all I've got, man. I think that was a great show. Good guy. Go check him out if they come to a arena near you.
Oh, killer band. You won't regret seeing this band live. They'll blow you away.
And Apostasis, he said it was April, came out this year, so go check that out because it really is high on my list of albums for the year.
Great album.
Thanks for listening. Keep it metal.
Yeah.
Hello out there. Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.